Welcome to Oh Hell No with Nicole.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Oh Hell No podcast. Today we have my favorite podcaster. He goes by Young Lion, and he has this amazing podcast. It's called DRB, which stands for Dancehall Reggae Bashment. Welcome, Young Lion. Thank you for joining me.
Respect, one love, one love, one love.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk to you because you really are my favorite podcaster.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I still get shy when people say them things, you know?
Really?
Yeah. It still feels weird when people say things like that.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I listen to it every single week, and I always put it out to all my friends, whoever. I'm like, if you want to hear the latest reggae, get up on it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate the love, man. Serious.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your heritage, because I hear some accents going on there, and I'm so envious because I love your accent.
Oh, see? Well, the thing is, maybe because you're obviously in the States, so you probably see an accent. But in the UK, they say I haven't really got an accent.
Right.
And I think they say that because, like, my parents are from Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually born in England.
Wow.
Born in a town called Bristol, which is like an hour and a half from London.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad is from Clarendon, Blackwood. And then that's country, you know what I mean?
Yeah, my mother is, she's from Manchester.
Yes?
Yep.
But to find out each other's surname after, you never know, it could be family, you know?
Yeah, you never know. So my dad, I believe he's from the country too. I don't know exactly what parish, but they were a couple. So maybe, I don't know. He's from that same parish. And then I know that he also has family in Kingston. So
Crazy. Yeah, because my mum is from Port Antonio.
Oh, okay.
From Portland, which is my favorite part of Jamaica because it's just so nice out there, with the beach and everything. Like, really nice.
Absolutely.
So they met in England. They both come to England. Same story. Their parents had come over, set up for work and then sent for their children, which is obviously them. And then they met in a Jamaica club because what would happen is with the immigrants, them coming into the UK, whenever city they'd sort of like reside in, they have like a large Jamaican community, so they would always sit together. So they would obviously have like clubs and so forth going on. So they had a Jamaica club in Bristol, and that's where they met. So they met there, and then I became, a product of the two of them.
Nice. So what was it?
That's where the lingo comes from. But most of my generation, so most of the black people in England, especially in Bristol, London, Birmingham, Manchester, they were what you call first generation British, where our parents are from Jamaica. So our accent is like half patois and half English. So you hear us talk English with the Jamaican slang.
Yeah.
So you may hear Drake trying to do it every now and again when he says like wagwan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how we talk actually, because obviously our parents obviously talking in the strict Jamaican dialect, and then when we go to school and thing, everyone else is speaking like English. Mm-hmm. So it goes across in between. We don't realize we're doing it until people like actually say you sound kind of different, but that's just our slang,
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Thanks.
So what was it like growing up in the UK? Is there a large Caribbean population there?
Yeah, it depends what city you're in. So definitely the larger cities then. So like where I'm from, Bristol, London, Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, the big main cities them, massive Jamaican communities them, massive. But if you go to obviously some other parts of the UK, which is probably like America, there's certain parts you go to, you probably won't see no black people.
Yeah.
Same thing. But there's a very large Jamaican community in the UK still.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right.
We hear about that in the US, right? Because when people from the US come to the UK, they're like, what? You got black people here? Like, black people always be here, man. Serious.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because I know that there are some people that, are from England or, London, whatever the correct term is for, and they have the Jamaican roots, but I didn't know how large the population was or is, so
it's quite large. Not as large as like the Americans them, but it's large enough to have our own communities then, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you were a young boy coming up, what were you most passionate about?
Music, because my dad was from the sound system era. So, and it was kind of weird. I've told the story before where back in the days, people would have their hi-fis. And some of the youngers don't even know what a hi-fi is, but you'd have your tape cassettes with your radio on top with the record player, and that will be your sound system, your hi-fi setup. My dad wouldn't have that. He would actually have a preamp, big time sound speaker, set up to a mixer, set up to a turntable, and that would be our normal, system that we play the radio on even. You know what I mean? So I was just fascinated by that, and they have like a music room, so they have all these records in the room, and he would just play the records them, and I just love music from then. So I just had a real big passion for it, really and truly, from growing up since I can remember. I can't remember loving nothing else.
Wow.
Music like that.
So
everyone loves their football and thing, but I just love music because my dad would just always play music.
That is so crazy. So when you were growing up, did you think that you would fall into a career of music?
To be totally honest with you, no, not as a youngster. The only reason I actually became a DJ, really and truly, is I think subconsciously it was because my dad was also obviously a sound man, so I'd always follow him, and I had that passion for music anyway. Because I'd be fascinated by the record covers and what they were saying inside, and the actual beats, the bass line, the flows, everything. What actually happened was when I started to get to the age of like 11, 12, because let me skip back a bit. Before that, I'd follow my dad on pirate radio stations. Do you call it pirate in the US as well? Or
well, I've heard the term. I know the term, yeah, but I don't know what they call it.
It's basically a radio station that's not being set up legally from the radio standards, from the radio authorities.
Yeah.
So we just set up a transmitter and it just goes out to the community, because especially back then there wasn't no radio for the black people, for the communities then. You know what I mean? So we would just string up, well, I wouldn't, because obviously I was a youth, but people would string up just illegal radio spots. And that's how there's a growing brief of talent coming from that. So anyway, my dad would be on those, and he'd have a session once a week, like a 2-hour show. Just it would run like a normal radio station would. And the last 10 minutes, he'd always hand over to me and let me play whatever records I wanted to. And even at that time, I wasn't really taking it as I want to have a career in music. To me, it was just playing my dad's records, and he was just giving me the chance to play what I wanted to play. To me, it was no different than when we're in the yard and he's playing on the sound system, and every now and again I have a go on it. What really happened was when I started getting pocket money from my parents, and then I would go to the record shop and buy records, I just wanted to show off the records that I had bought. So if you think similarly to like when kids will buy the latest Jordans or latest hats or something, and they wear it out because they want to show off their latest garments. Me, I just wanted to show off my latest records that I had bought. You know what I mean? So I ended up going to like loads of different little pubs. They have like things called all day. So on like a bank holiday or something, there'd be like loads of family functions going on, and I would just like have a go, because a lot of the people that would know my dad anyway. They'd be like, "Oh, Raspi's on this. Come have a go on the decks, them." So I'd just be playing on the decks, but it was all about literally showing off the records that I had. It wasn't even about crowd control, trying to do anything. It was just literally listen to the tune I got. I got this last week. I'm playing it now. I'm showing it off. I don't think anybody was interested like that, but that's what I was doing.
Wow. So you were just doing your own thing.
Yeah, literally.
Not even realizing. It's so funny because when I talk to people and they like love something and they say that they're just doing it, they don't even have any rhyme or reason to it, and they're just doing their thing, and it morphs into this other thing, Yeah. So when did you really go into DJing? Like, do you remember the first party that you actually said, okay, I'm going to play the music for this party and get it live?
There's so many different ones, because I can't remember the first one. Because like I said, there's been a few where I just remember just going around the place just asking to play. I think the first time I literally sort of took it really serious, I must have been about 13, 14, where instead of going to like a fun day with the family, I actually just packed my backpack, my school bag basically, full of 12-inch records. We'll just walk from family function to family function asking for a go. And where this became different to the norm, because I wasn't there with my dad, there was two places where the guys knew my dad, but it wasn't with in hindsight, they never really told me. It's only in hindsight I actually realized now you were really good friends with my dad. But he didn't tell me. So, and he restricted me as well. He was like, so away I go come play, away I go do. So I thought, for me to now step up and have my little 5 minutes, I'm gonna have to really impress, and actually play for the people them. So I actually started not playing what I wanted to hear, but thinking, let me play what the people them want to hear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I had my records and I thought, hold on, but I don't even know what they want to hear. Yeah. So in fact, let me play my new tunes and what I bought last week and show them off. And hopefully people like it. So then I just started doing that. And I can't pinpoint per se. I just remember going to loads of different places doing that same thing for quite a while. And then my name just came around and people were like, yeah, man, I like how you play. Yeah, text some tune. And people actually give me records. Sound system DJs will actually give me some of their spare records.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Because then back then as well, you had an era coming in, which is called jungle, which is like a drum and bass off strand of dancehall mixed with some like dance. So because the soundman then was looking at that music not being like really authentic, they would give me those records. But I'd use them and like practice with and mess around with, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So do you DJ part-time or is this like your life?
DJing is my life. I also do other things as well. So I'm also like a firefighter.
Get out of here.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Yeah, I also do that. So yeah, the DJ is my life, but I also do firefighting. It's just something I like to help people in the community. I like to do that. So that allows me to do both.
That is amazing. Look at you. Saving lives and
we really have to put up the fire them, you know?
I know. That is crazy. So when did you start doing your podcast?
I started doing my podcast, it's got to be about, what I remember around like 291. So that's probably about 4 or 5 years ago. And the only reason the podcast came about, I was on BBC One Extra, Radio 1 for 8 years. And basically they do yearly contracts. So every year they would renew my contract. And then on the 8th year, they took some of us into an office. I don't know if you heard of Tim Westwood.
Yes.
As well, the DJ. So they took us into an office. And they basically said, look, we're making budget cuts and sorry, we have to let you go. So mind you, since that was my 8th year, and since I've been there, I've seen a lot of DJs come and go, you know, with their yearly contracts. What happens with people go and then they do nothing after? Because you can kind of take it for granted that you're always going to be on that station. I always have it in the back of my mind, what would I do after if 1 year they tell me, boom, you know, I have to go. So I'm sitting there, they give me 6 months notice, which funny enough, again in hindsight now, that probably was a blessing because back in the days, I've known every DJs to be told we're not going to renew your contract 2 or 3 weeks before the contract ends. But I had 6. They give me Westwood and them, and I don't know why they did it, if it was just coincidence, but they gave us 6 months. So within that 6 months, I was like, right, what do I want to do now differently that can expand my horizon? Because I had offers coming through from another radio station. Because once I told people, I said, look, I'm going to be moving, there was other competitors that was willing to give me a spot. And I was, more or less ready to take them. And I thought, right, what can I do now? Now that I've got a name for myself and everything, I've got a following, what can I do to have more control of my own content? Because when you're playing on the radio stations, a lot of the time you're not as free as people think you are. Does that make sense? The way you're, told what you can play to a certain extent, all those sort of things. So I was like, what control can I make? And I thought, let me try a podcast. And I thought, what I'm going to do is not release it the week I actually come off the radio, but let me try and do it, 4 or 5 weeks as I'm running out of my contract at the same time, to have them both running in conjunction with each other. So that while I'm on the radio One Extra now, I'm bigging up the podcast saying, by the way, by the time I leave, I'll be doing a podcast. Now, you have to appreciate back then, 5 years ago, people wasn't really, they were like, podcast? What's that? It wasn't really as big as it is now. Everyone was doing podcasts. Everyone was doing talk podcasts, music podcasts, everything. Back then, it was no different really than a SoundCloud link. You know what I mean? But I was thinking, bruh, iPhone 4's out, iPhones are out, and people got Android. I know when I go to the gym, I have to take my music with me. What can I do there? So I thought, let me try that. And I tried that, obviously experiment with it, and it just took off from there. I never realized how much people would actually gravitate to it, to be honest, at the time. It was just an experiment, but it really worked. And it's something I actually enjoy now more than the radio because I'm in full control of the content. It's like I produce myself. And so the people now don't just have a radio show, they actually have an insight into what I like. It's like I was explaining earlier when I was playing the music, I was showing off my records. What I'm doing now, when I press record on the DRB when I start, all the listener is doing is having an insight into my mix at that time. You know what I mean? It's not really a plan to say, right, I've got to play this tune in this hour, I've got to play that. It's literally, these are some of the tunes I've got coming in this week that are brand new, and I'm just going to just freelance and boom, have a vibe in the studio, press record, and let's just go, hope for the best. People tend to like it, so that's why I so kind of get shy when people are like, yeah, I love your podcast and everything there, because to me it's like, raw, do you actually know it's just me just having a mix in my, in the studio?
Yeah.
literally just having a mix. When you hear me talk about, let's go in and all that, I'm just gassed.
Oh,
I'm not doing it because it's like it's time to do it. It's like a cue. I'm doing it because I'm literally gassed in the studio, jumping up and down.
yeah, it's just a vibe that you just
That's
wow.
it. So
Well, I catch a vibe at my desk at work too because I be listening to that music. I know my coworkers are like, "What the hell is wrong with this girl?"
yeah, keep it blazing, man.
Yeah, I love it. So what do you love the most about the podcasting? Is it the control? Is it, the people being receptive of it? Like what lights your fire for, the whole podcasting thing?
Yeah, the first thing was the control. The fact I had, 100% control over my content. And you may find if you're like a weekly listener like yourself, even though I could choose if I wanted to, for example, to have nothing but raw edits on every single track. And the first few podcasts, I tried to keep it all the way clean, like similar to a radio station does.
Yeah.
Because my thought process was, what about the person who's listening to my podcast, who's listening in the car with their children in the car? If they hear a bag of swearing or a bag of bad words, they're going to lock it off.
Right.
So all you've done is lock off a certain listener. You know what I mean? You've been less receptive to people. What I want is, if you've got a podcast on your phone and you're sitting down with your family and it's like, oh, who's got a CD, who's got some music? Oh, I got the DRB. They can play it with the family there, knowing full well it's going to be clean.
Yes.
But then also you've got the people that also listen to like a podcast now, and I'll be like, why is it always clean? I want to hear the raw cuts.
Yep.
So there's, you know what I mean? So there's that middle ground where what I'm doing now is trying to find that middle ground of some raw, some clean. So it's not all dirty, but it's not fully clean. So it's like trying to please everyone, but not being too raw, if that makes sense. Without me warning beforehand, you're going to get a raw mix.
Yeah, I know, because sometimes I'll put it on and I'm in the car and I'm listeing and I'm like, oh, yo, what's going on with Young Lion? Wait a minute. Let me stop. Because my daughter's in the back. I have to say, I'll listen to this later.
I'm saying, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm still trying to be totally honest with you, I'm still trying to find that correct balance.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've been trying to think if am I going to keep it where it's at half mix, or am I going to keep it where 1 week it's raw and then the other week it's clean, so it's week by week. I still don't know yet. But to answer the question, I think the biggest thing with the podcast now is knowing that the people are listening to it because they want to listen to it. It's not like, I'm on a radio, I just happen to skip past a radio show and happen to listen to Young Lion, because sometimes you don't know if it's literally genuine or not, because there's a lot of false people in this industry. But for somebody to go and stream a podcast and download the podcast, that means they really are into what you're doing. So that means a lot to me. Even if you've got the fastest Wi-Fi, it's still going to take 30 seconds for you to literally click download on your phone. So to me, you've literally taken time out to download, something that I've put work into. So that means a lot to me, man. Seriously, to me, that's more than money.
Yeah.
Because that's somebody's effort. You're not just gone to a club and the DJ happens to be Young Lion playing in the club and you just walked in the club because you want somewhere to go. You've actually gone out your way to download or stream my podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the biggest thing for me is the listeners.
Yeah, that is a great feeling.
Definitely.
So how do you stay on top of the latest music? I mean, because there's so much, especially with reggae. It's like, Jesus, they come out with something every week.
There is loads. The funniest thing is, I get artists who will be like, why don't you play my tune, or why don't you play this? Or I'm sort of biased to one artist, because if you do listen to my podcast, everyone knows I love Off Cartel. I ain't gonna lie, Cartel is my favorite artist.
Mine too.
Yeah, mine is lyrically bad.
Yep.
But at the same time, people don't realize I'm not Cartel biased, because Cartel releases so much music, but there's so much music of Cartel, for instance, that you don't hear, and you may not hear from me, because to me there is still some tracks from Cartel that I think don't make the cut, as in they're not good enough. You know what I mean? So I'm not biased that way. It's just that when it comes to good tune, you have to, the best tunes that matter roll. So it is hard to keep. I wouldn't say it's hard to keep up. It's hard to decipher what's a good tune and what's not. So I think if you're going to go down the route of having a radio show or a podcast where you're literally trying to play the next hits or what you think is now going to be big in the top 10, in 3 months' time,
Yep.
it's going to be harder because you're not listening just for yourself. You're listening to what the people are going to gravitate to as well. So I stopped doing that years ago. I just said to myself, right, I'm just going to keep on top of the tunes. And it is a long job. You always, my email box is always full.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also, I also look on YouTube every now and again as well to see what's out there, just in case I miss anything. Because sometimes you do miss some things.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But what I do now is, if I like it, I play it. Because the thing is, music is down to personal taste.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say like Vybz Kartel is my favorite artist, and then someone says, oh no, Alkaline is their favorite artist, you see a lot of time people will have a big disagreement about, no man, this man and my artist, can't him do this. Alkaline, no man, can't him do that. The fact is, everyone's ears are different. Everyone has different likes and dislikes. So it's down to personal taste. So if a man feels another artist is bigger than the artist I feel is bigger, that don't mean he's right or wrong. Because it don't mean I'm right or wrong. I'm a DJ. Mm-hmm. And I still don't have extra qualification to tell you or anybody else that your choice on music is wrong.
Right.
If that makes sense. If you're just thinking of who's your best. Because it's like food. A chef can't tell me, boy, fried chicken is the best. And I'm saying to him, no, pizza's the best. And then he's going to turn around and say to me, well, I'm a chef. I've been a chef for 20 years. So if I'm saying to you, chicken is the best food, chicken is the best, you can't tell me that because it's my mouth.
Right.
you know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely.
It's what I do with the music. I just play what I like, and then I just hope that people like it as well. It's the easiest way to stay on top of it. I just be like, right, I like this tune, I'm gonna play this tune.
I think that's a good approach because that song you played on one of your mix, the Partner Draw. I was cracking up when I heard you announce that song or whatever, and then you started playing it, and I was like, oh my god, this is so funny, right? Because we know about the Partner Draw.
yeah.
So then I started listening to it. Then I'm like, yo, I like this song. I love the rhythm. I really like it. So now when I hear it, I'm like, that's my joint. I like it.
It's bad, man. I see again. So perfect example, like Shano.
Mm-hmm.
I like Shano. I like Deep Joy. But I know they're not the biggest artists in dancehall right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I rate them. I like their flow. For some reason, it captivates into my mind. Because music is like it's like a science. It's sick. The musical waves sonically hits everyone different, hits your brain cells different.
Yeah.
So sometimes you don't even realize why you like an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it could just be the flow of the voice, and it just hits you sonically. It's like an attraction to something or someone. Sometimes you don't know why you like it. You don't know why you fall in love with that person. You don't know why you like that food better than that one there. So why I like Deep Joy or Shano better than some other artists, I don't know. It just sonically, it just fits for me.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, sometimes you hear a Partner Draw, and it's like, raw, you probably would have listened to that beforehand had you not listened to the DRB. So what I've done is basically open your musical scope, which is a good thing again.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
So what did you think about that whole thing with Alkaline when he had his birthday party? And
I knew there was going to be some pasa coming up. All right, fine.
Oh God. But like as a DJ, how do you navigate a situation like that? I mean, what do you do? Do you ask for a list of songs that are allowed to be played and not played, or how would you have handled that?
So you're talking about when Alkaline cuss off Mataran, right?
Yeah.
And Mataran playing for Mataran to play some Vybz Kartel tunes in Alkaline's party, and then Alkaline cuss him off.
Right.
Now, me personally, how I look on the whole thing, and I rate Alkaline as an artist.
Yeah, he's
and
good.
You know what I mean? Bad. Like, I didn't like him at first. See, again, I never liked him at first when he first come out. With that 1, 2, 3, I was like, I don't know about this artist, yeah.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie, I didn't play him. I didn't like him. It wasn't because he was tattooing his eyes. I just didn't rate him. To me, it was like nothing.
Right.
When he came up with Champion Boy, I was like, Ross.
Yeah.
This brother, yeah. And when I actually listened to what he's saying, I thought, for so much people who hate you, you're literally having to go at the haters then. But the way you say it, you're surviving. All that. And I had to start rating him. And then more time you hear his tune him, and every tune he's coming up with now, 9 times out of 10, then bad.
Yep.
But to go back to the question, what I actually thought about that is what I think about dancehall as a whole. And it's why sometimes I say I love dancehall, but I don't really like the culture anymore. Because to me, you have to think of, if it was hip hop, and say you had a young artist now, I don't know, say you had Migos, and they got their birthday party coming, and then a big DJ like, I don't know, like a Cool Herc, even like a I don't know, like a Funkmaster Flex then, come and do his thing. Migos ain't really gonna cuss Funkmaster Flex in public like that, because they know, say, boy, them are a foundation.
Right.
If we got a thing with them, we're gonna go behind closed doors and say, Flex, The thing where you keep up with a while ago, it wasn't correct. But they wouldn't publicly diss it. It's like, you're not going to get, what you shouldn't do, you shouldn't get like a new kid on Boogie with a Hoodie, what's them boy the name? You know, Lil Pump and them man there. They ain't gonna diss Jay-Z.
Right.
You know what I mean? In public. Because they know you can't do that. You have to have them man in a high regard. You don't have to worship them, but it's just appreciating the people that come before you.
Exactly.
Whether you like them or not. In dancehall, there is none of that.
Yeah.
Man, just, you know what I mean? Man will cuss Bounty Killer, man will cuss Beanie Man, and they just come in the business.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, Mataran, whether you agree with him or not, he is a veteran in the music business.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two sides of the coin. Even though I don't agree with you can't play certain DJ tune in certain something, to me that's foolishness. But if that's his rule in his club, in his dance, that's how he rule. But you could approach that differently, like behind the stage and say, look, Mataran, why you keep up a while ago? A foolishness that you don't know the code, so we don't play cartel tracks in here. Mataran don't agree with it, but you put yourself in the dance, knowing the rules, don't do it. But to do that in public and sort of like it coming like an ambush, kind of man around him, you know what I mean? The way he put his hat, to me, it's all about body language. Because the way Alkaline put his hand on Mataran for like, boy him up, like, you know what he just do? I'm thinking, big man, the man's old enough to be your father, you know. The respect to me is gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, what have you done for me lately? They're forgetting Mataran paved the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? As a DJ, and he paved the way for artists and everything to make people earn money and the way dancehall is now. And to me, that was just disrespectful in that aspect. And how me and you are having this conversation now, I guarantee, if Alkaline people don't hear this, they're going to be vexed at me for having that opinion without realizing it's just a conversation.
Right.
It's like you can't tell an artist that they're wrong.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Yeah, you can't tell anybody that they're wrong anymore. You can't, or not even having saying they're wrong. You can't disagree with the artist no more. Let me take that back. You can't disagree with the artist no more. Because if you disagree with the artist, then you fight against them.
It's so ridiculous.
You can't have that conversation. I think that's in dancehall. We need to learn to accept other people's opinions without it being you having a go at me. Look how Monique and Charlemagne don't see eye to eye, but they sit down the other day. Yeah, and they got a big beef going, you know. They can't stand each other, but they sit down and have a conversation.
I know.
But they still had that conversation respectfully, even though she did kind of hard still. But they still had that conversation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen in dancehall.
No, it can't.
And it should do.
No, because they're just...
Yeah, and it's wrong, man.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
That's my view. That's my view on it still.
Yeah, I was shocked when I saw that whole thing. But I was shocked, but I wasn't because I know the culture. It's just like, you know, ignorance is bliss. What can you say?
Serious. You know what I mean? But he's a bad artist, but I just wish that the artists them and it's not just artists them, it's loads of people in the music industry just act a little bit better with each other and just have a respect for the elder ones them.
Yeah, there's enough room for everybody to do their thing, and you know what I'm saying. Just respect each other. You do your thing. Definitely. Let him do his thing, and everybody rock. That's it. You know. Yeah. So
you don't have to rate them. You know, you don't have to rate them. You just respect them.
Right.
You know, you might not be a Bounty Killer fan. You might not like Bounty Killer. You might have been a Beanie Man fan all your life and can't stand Bounty Killer. You have to respect him. I still have to rate him.
Exactly.
For what he has done.
Right, because at the end of the day, everybody has the same dream and the same goal. Everybody, you know, so
definitely.
It's so true. It's like you don't see rock and roll people behaving like that, or people in other genres of music. So
that's actually again. I was using hip hop, but that's so true. I never hear none of these new kids dissing Rolling Stones.
Exactly.
No, but they don't.
Right.
They might not like them, but they won't diss them in public because it's like an unwritten code. It's not even an unwritten code. It's unrespected.
Right.
How much time do your parents cuss you, and sometimes you're thinking, you know what, this time you're wrong, but you can't cuss them back. You just take it upon the chin and allow it.
Exactly.
Or you talk to them respectfully.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So. Or even going back again to the Monique thing. You hear the end of the interview, and this was so interesting to me because me and the Bridget was talking about it. You know, right at the end, and she said to him, that film Birth of Nation, you are like the man who take his wife to the slave owner.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what at the end of the interview, you know.
Wow.
Because he said to her, oh, why are you not going to hug me? She said, you're going to hear about me, Charlemagne, because you are like that guy from the Birth of Nation who takes his wife to the slave owner and then picks up his wife after. You are that sort of brother. I'm not going to tell a word about you. I know what Charlemagne did. I know people on the comments are like, Charlemagne, he got told, he got taken to school. Charlemagne never replied. But what's he supposed to do? The woman's a big woman, Bridget. So he obviously don't agree with her, but that Monique's a big woman to him.
Yeah.
So it's a black thing. You have to have that respect and be like, you know what, Monique, you're out of honor for saying that, but I ain't going to cuss you here on camera because it's not my place to do that. So I had to rate him for that.
Wow, I didn't even hear the whole interview, but she's
Yeah,
really
check the
out of
last,
control.
just check the last piece, because that's what I took from the whole interview, is that even if people are saying Monique owned him or anyway around, they still had the respect for her where they just knew certain lines, just let her have her piece and just let her say what she say.
Yeah.
So like I said, back to our culture, we should do that, like our parents did. Sometimes your parents say we're wrong, but we take the L sometime, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. We do. We need to take some notes from other people.
Yeah, man, serious.
Seriously. So recently, I have been obsessed with all things carnival, right? A couple of years
Right.
ago, my little Trini friend introduced me to the whole soca scene, and I've been like just obsessed. So I discovered that there is carnival in Notting Hill. Like, I didn't even know that carnival.
Serious?
I swear. I know this sounds so ignorant, but I did not know that
Oh,
carnival
dear.
goes, to all these other countries. Like, I was
Yeah.
shocked. So I wanted to know, have you ever been, and what is the experience? What is the experience
Sorry,
like?
yeah, it sounds funny to me, that question, but sorry, go on. Have I ever been on?
And what is the experience like? Like, what is the vibe like? Is it just okay? Have you been to carnival in Jamaica or Trinidad? I'm just asking. Humor me.
Right. So the Trinidad Carnival, that is one carnival I need to go to
Oh,
before
see,
then.
and I've been. That was my first carnival.
To me, oh, so you probably went to the best one first.
Yes,
Which is
I
probably,
went
probably
to
the reverse way to do it. Because now you go to another
exactly.
carnival and be like, I'm not in this.
Yeah, I went to Trinidad first, and I played with Tribe. That was like an
Right.
amazing
Yeah.
first experience for somebody who's never been to a carnival.
Ooh,
Yeah. And
I
then
went to, yeah.
yeah, and then last year I went to Jamaica Carnival. That was my first time going to, Jamaica Carnival. And then
Yeah, yeah.
this year we're going again. But like I said, I've been doing research and I'm like, oh wow, Carnival in London or the UK,
Yeah,
Carnival
London,
in
yeah. So,
Germany, like all over
yeah.
the place.
And there's a few, because Bristol have a carnival called St. Paul's Carnival.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that once a year. Notting Hill is in London. You have Birmingham Carnival, Leeds, which are actually the same time as Notting Hill, but they're totally one's in the north of England, and obviously London being more in the south. A lot of cities, you have Luton Carnival, so a lot of cities have their own carnival. Remember I was saying about Jamaican communities them?
Yeah.
They came up with a carnival concept in all the cities in the UK.
Wow.
So that's why, to be fair, a lot of our carnivals, apart from Notting Hill, they're more Jamaican based. They were built off a Jamaican background. So definitely Bristol Carnival, because most of the black people in Bristol were from Jamaican heritage.
Yeah.
Obviously got a few Trinidadians and that, but it's predominantly 90% I would have said from Jamaica. So our carnival is very Jamaican based. It's only as I got older I realized, so Caribbean isn't just Jamaica. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, up until about 9 years old, I thought Caribbean was just Jamaica.
You see?
I didn't know there was Trinidad, Barbados. I didn't know none of that. To me, it was like all black people from the Caribbean are from Jamaica.
There you go.
Right? So when I get to realize they have their own culture, because things like Steel Pan, that will play on Carnival, but it's only been on one little tiny float. And I just thought maybe that was something back from the slave days then.
Right.
That Jamaicans will pick up without realizing, no, that's a whole new culture again.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm getting older and as everyone else is getting older, it's sort of widening now where the carnivals are starting to become more Caribbean.
Yeah.
In the UK, but they were literally based off Jamaican culture. So Notting Hill is becoming more Caribbean, but again, that was built off of Jamaican.
So they play soca, but then they probably also play some dancehall and
yeah. So the best way to explain them is like a big, massive Caribbean street party.
Okay.
Imagine go to like in Jamaica, you have to street dance them like Passa Passa, Hot Mondays and all that. So the best way to explain it is like a big, massive version of that. But Notting Hill is probably the most Caribbean centric one because they play a lot of soca and all those things. Where the Bristol version, where I actually was born and growing, there's not really a lot of soca playing on Not Carnival. That one is predominantly a lot of literally now like UK music and predominantly dancehall and reggae because of the Jamaican centric, but they are trying to bring in more of that Caribbean culture in it again.
Oh, okay. Wow. So have you been to Carnival in Jamaica?
Yeah, been to Carnival Jamaica once.
Okay.
Enjoyed that one there.
Yeah, that's nice.
And obviously the street dance there.
Yeah.
Every time I'm there, I go to the streets like them all the time, the street dance.
Mm-hmm.
But the carnivals them in the UK, you would love that. But now that you've gone to the one in Trinidad, it might be like a bit of a come down for you, because the way I hear about the Trinidad one, I need to go there.
Yeah, they tried to kill me when we went. I mean, when we step off the plane, it was like, okay, party. Then we're going this place and we're going this place, 2-3 parties a day. I was like, yo, I cannot deal. Yes. I mean, it was crazy. My friends that organized it, because they're Trini, so they love party all the time. But I mean, they were driving us crazy. We were like, yo, we can't handle this. This is too much.
I definitely need to go, because from what I'm hearing, I have a few Trini friends over here in the UK, and they go back every year for it. And the way they talk about it,
yeah, it's really
it's
nice. The vibe is just off the scale. It's like amazing. Jamaica Carnival was really good last year. That was my first time, but I feel like last year they're really getting, big, So this year it's even bigger. There's so many parties. I mean, last year there was a lot of parties, but this year there's tons of parties.
So it's still growing every year, right?
Yes, it's still growing. So, and we played with Exodus, and that I really liked that band. Yeah, it was really good. So we staying with the same band this year, and it'll be a good time. It's really fun.
Fingers crossed, I'll be there soon.
Yeah, you should definitely do Jamaica again. I think you will you'll get a different experience now, because now they're really stepping it up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to.
Yeah, definitely. So how hard is it for a DJ to build a following?
I don't know, because people nowadays will say now it's easier because of social media.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the days when I was doing it as well, 'cause remember I grew up in the 90s era. My biggest days was in like the Bogle era. That's when I started to really take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it was no social media, but it's more community based. So it was easier to get a following then as well, if you're in a close knit community, because like I said, you were playing like certain dances and everyone would know about you. So as long as you were good at your craft, you would get the following.
Mm-hmm.
So when people say, "Boy, yeah, it's easier now than it is before," no, I think people really forget it was easy before as well. And when I say easy, I mean easy if you're good at your craft. Because even now, if you're not good at your craft, even if you use social media, it's not going to work. You'll be a laughing stock. Or what happens now is more people know about you as a laughing stock.
True.
You know what I mean? Because of social media. But if you are good, you will still get the following. You probably get more following now because of social media. Yeah. But it's as easy to get that following if you're talented in anything you're doing. But back in our days, it was the same as well, I would say, because of the community base that we were in.
Mm-hmm.
If you were good, your friend would tell a friend and tell a friend. So you would get that following then. And because it was more of a sound system culture, so it wasn't just like you're DJing on your own. You were always with groups of people. So I got picked up by a few sound systems. And I went from a few, different sound systems from one end to the other. Went from Qualitex to Ghetto Force, a year here, a year there. And what you're doing then, you're building up a following, but you're also building up experience, if that makes sense. So you're doing both at the same time, but you're not realizing that until after you look back and realize, wow, I was actually getting experience all that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So what is the hardest part, do you think, for keeping a party lit? Because I know I've been to some parties and I'm like, yo, if somebody don't tell that DJ to go sit down, like seriously. So what's the hardest part of, like when you're on that turntable and you got to look out, and now it's all like, digital or whatever. It's like different. It's not even like a turntable, but when you're dealing with that and you're looking out at the crowd, how do you gauge their mood? How do you determine how to light up the party? How do you decide what song to play first or last? Or do you go like really by the seat of your pants depending on the crowd and the people, or do you kind of plan it out before the party? Like what is your technique?
This is a weird one. I've been asked this question a few times. I actually find it hard to answer, not because of an ego or anything, but I think maybe that is where I have a natural talent without realizing, because I've never ever practiced before I go out to play. I never ever had a playlist before I go out. I might have back in the days I used to have an intro in mind, but all that stops now, because if you have an intro in mind when you get to a club and somebody plays your tune before you, that could just throw you off guard. Yeah. You're like, right, I plan to play that first, so what am I going to do now? So no, I go in there and I play whatever tune first that I'm feeling. Because for me, it takes me about 2 minutes to settle into my set, because the first 5 minutes, up to this day, I still get really, really, really nervous. It's until I feel the crowd participation. So to read crowd, it's weird. If you're playing tunes and nobody's moving, or tunes ain't getting the reaction that you think they should have got, then you just switch it. You just try something else. So if, say for instance, you're in the dancehall genre and you're playing a Vibes Cartel and people ain't really moving, you say to yourself, raw, are they not moving because that cartel tune is too new, or is it too old? So if you're playing a brand new Vibes Cartel and you say to yourself, right, maybe it's because it's too new. Let me try a cartel I know more people like, maybe one from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Let's try that. If that don't work, then you know it's not the year thing. Maybe they don't like that sort of dancehall. So maybe try to do something from, I don't know, from 10 years ago. Maybe go from like a Beanie Man era or something, or a Sean Paul. Or maybe it's weird. Maybe switch up the pace even. Sometimes it also depends on the time of the night you play as well.
Yeah.
Because people always run down the thing about peak time and then say if you don't play at the peak time, it's going to be hard for you because then everyone's played the top 10 tunes, in an hour between, say like 1 and 2 or 2 and 3. They always say that's the peak time for clubs. To me, there's never peak time. The last 2 hours of a club, but then everyone is so drunk or so merry. More time you can play anything, and as long as it's got a good beat and the mix is on point, they're gone. They're gone with you. They're just on the journey with you. And I think it's just about having a musical journey, just trying to play everything, but not everything at the same time. Because if you have an hour playing, there's no point in me saying, right, for this hour, I'm just going to play nothing but the latest tracks then. Because all you've done is pleased 20% of the crowd who want to hear latest tracks. You have to remember, not everyone's the same. We were saying earlier on that everyone has the different sort of musical taste, but we all like the genre.
Yeah.
So I just try to do a whole scope and go around everything so that everybody will like get a little piece of what they've come for, if that makes sense. So I might even play like a Dennis Brown. In the same dance, I'm playing an Alkaline or a Busy Signal. And people will be like, how can you go from one end of the spectrum to another? It's because everyone loves music and you don't know where they're coming from or what they'd been listening to before. So one thing I don't do, when people come to the DJ booth and give me requests, that gets on my nerves, man.
I was going to ask you if that bothers you.
No, and the thing that I do get ignorant, I ain't going to lie. Like, people take all right, it's not that I'm getting ignorant, yeah? say you're a cook, yeah?
Yeah. And,
the people's gone to the table, they've ordered their food, yeah, and then they send the menu back, and the cook's in the back cooking up the food. Now, imagine the customer now keeps coming to the cook saying, can you put the salt in last, or can you put the salt in first? The cook's going to be like, hold on a minute, you've come to my restaurant, just allow me to cook the food. I'm going to I'm going to cook the food. So when I'm playing the music, what I hate the most, like, I'm a dancehall DJ, so if for the first 5 minutes, maybe I might play a Rihanna or something, yeah? When someone comes to you and says, are you going to play any dancehall? No, I'm a dancehall DJ. I'm just going to stand there and play, drum and bass. What do you think I'm going to play? Can you play Cartel? No, I'm playing dancehall, but I'm just going to leave Cartel out of the mix. Can you play Alkaline? No. You know what I mean? To me, they ask silly questions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then on the top of that, the main thing is not even about the question. I think with other DJs, they like all that attention. They like all that engagement. Where with me, I actually get into a zone when I'm DJing. So when I'm DJing, I'm actually in my own zone. I don't even see the crowd more time. So as soon as someone comes up to me and gives me that phone to say, can you play this? You just mess my zone up.
Yeah.
I was here trying to have a good time like you're trying to have a good time. You messed me up. You know what I mean? So what I do now, I have security at my DJ booth then. And no one can't, they can't disturb me.
I don't blame you. That's so funny. But I'm definitely the person that'll be like, oh God, somebody go tell the DJ if he could play some Cartel. No.
But there's still some tricks I do still, because sometimes you get someone who will come up to you and they try and get the phone. Can you play so and so? And I just nod. I don't even hear what they're saying. I nod and be like, yeah. Because that will just make them disappear.
Right. That's what they do. Yeah. That's what you guys do to us.
Yeah. It's coming. And then deep down I'm vexed, like, I don't know what they're asking for.
Right.
And then sometimes as well, what people have to also appreciate is if someone comes in asking for one track, it doesn't mean I can play your track, because there's like 500 people in the club. I can't just please one person.
Yeah.
It's hard enough for me as it is to try and please a whole crowd, let alone play one tune. If you're asking me for a hit tune, that's going to get played either by me or by another DJ, because a top 10 tune.
Yeah.
But if you're going to come ask me for a specific tune and there's 500 people in the club, you want me to really stop and play one tune just for you. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? So it's not really ego thing. It's just I think people don't really understand. But at the same time, I can see it from their point of view as well. Because as someone who's going into a club, you want to hear the music that you want to hear.
Yeah, you want to dance
You know what I mean?
and have a good time. So you're like, yo,
Yeah.
come on, play my song. But I
And
get it.
Yeah.
It's
And
like,
how do you make sure your music going to get played? By asking for it. So I would
Right.
probably be the same. So I can't wrong them neither.
yeah, it's like
You know
me
what
and
I mean?
my family went on a cruise. This probably was not the best place to be doing that, but we went to this little club on the boat. So it's like 10 people in there. The DJ sucks. And me and my sister like, yo, come on, what's wrong with this guy? So my sister was like, I'm going to go ask him to play Cardi B. So she went to the DJ. Can you play Cardi B, please? He was like, I am not playing that. We were
What?
like, yes. He said, no, I'm not playing that. You can't be serious. I
See,
was like,
the difference is with him fool, because there's 10 people in the club. You should play whatever they want to hear. So,
exactly.
you know what I mean?
It was like a club on a cruise ship. Dude, come on. You got
That's a jukebox dance. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever they want to hear, you play. Got 10 people in the club. Yeah,
Yes.
even me, I'd just be like, yeah, okay, then. You want to hear that? Is it telling you in the club? I'll play whatever you want to hear.
And you should
You
have
don't
a
really have
clean
that.
version, right? You should have the
Yeah, of
clean.
course.
Yeah. So,
Of course.
I was so mad. We left.
But you got nowhere else to go though, because you're on a boat, innit? So.
Yeah. It's terrible.
So yeah, I can see it from both points, definitely. But yeah, me personally, I think the main part is I'm in my zone. I just don't like being disturbed in my zone. Just like allow me to play. And 9 times out of 10, the tune you're asking for probably will get played anyway.
Yeah. So
You know what I
we
mean?
we just got to
Just
learn to chill.
patience.
We got to
Yeah.
chillax.
If people who come and ask for tunes and they've only just touched the decks, you're like 3 tunes in, they're like, you didn't even give me time. I got 2 hours here. Like, let's just see if I
Right.
play a tune.
I just
But yeah, I can see that point though. I can see it from both ends.
yeah. So, do you have any other passions that you want to explore?
I'm starting to get into producing.
Oh.
I don't know if it's because I'm older now and I got more sit down time, as they say. But I've always loved beats, and I've always listened to beats in a different way, I think, than the people listen to it. The way I listen to different instruments, and I rewind tracks sometimes, not because of the artist or the flow, but because a certain bass in the beat, or it could just be a tambourine at a certain time, and I wheel it because that to me just dropped in at the right time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I class myself as like a musical geek, and I think that's why I love DJing.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm just a geek to it. I'm just a geek with music. That's all I do. So it's no different to somebody who's always on a computer and you look at them like you geeky idiot, but they just love computers, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
That's what they're
amazing.
good at it. You know?
It's so fascinating. I love when I listen to an album or something and I'm just like, "Oh my God, this person just went into a studio and just like
Yeah.
created this." It's really
Yeah.
fascinating to me. So I can understand why you love music, you know?
Yeah, I even like, even to this day, any album I even listen to, I'm even questioning, why did you put track number 9 before track number 10? And why did you
Right.
put that as your first tune? And why did you put that as your last? I just question, I don't know, I question everything. I just look into everything.
Yeah.
And where people are just like, oh, I like that single, I like that. I'm always thinking, but why is that one there? I don't know. I think I look too deep into it sometimes, but that's what I'm like with music. So that's what I want to get into, producing. I don't think my natural talent gets there. So at the moment, I'm doing like online piano lessons and everything there to get myself better. Because that's another reason why I was a DJ. Because like my brother he was good at being an artist, and I wanted to be an artist, but I can't rhyme for nothing. I can't even remember the latest hit tune. I can't do that. So I just stick to DJing. You know what I mean? So it's also being honest with yourself at the same time.
Exactly. Stick with your strengths.
Yeah. So my strength is in the DJing, but as something that I'm learning and as a passion that I love is the producing. I don't know if I'm going to be big in it, but I know I'm enjoying it. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And that is the main thing. I'm in my yard and I enjoy going and putting the Mac on and getting the keyboard out and everything else, a sampling machine, and just coming up with some beats.
That's great. I love it. That's what it's all about. Following
Yeah.
your passions and doing what makes you happy.
That's it.
Yep. Well, it was such a pleasure talking to you. I really enjoyed our conversation.
I knew.
But before you go, this is the Oh Hell No podcast. So you have to share an Oh Hell No moment with us. It was just a moment where you were like, oh, hell no, this did not just happen. It could be positive. It could be negative, whatever. It just needs to be a moment.
Trying to think. A hell no moment. Actually, probably about 2 years ago, I was in a club DJing,
Mm-hmm.
and I was dead in. In the middle of the set, I was dead in to go to the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
My bladder was busting, and I was dead in, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna leave this. I can't leave the DJ booth. I've got another half an hour to go." And I had to say to somebody, I said, "Beg you watch over this tune for me." And remember, the club is packed,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to basically. It was I had to put. I remember to this day, it was a Beanie Man tune I put on. You want a proper fix? Call me.
Yeah.
I remember the tune, but I played that, and I literally ran from the DJ booth, ran to the toilet, pushed everyone out the way, did my thing, come back out, and for some reason people knew I'd gone to the toilet. And yeah, I just never live it down. But when you have to go, innit?
Yeah, absolutely.
From then, I just never drink a lot of water before my sets. So that's probably the hell no move I could think of, because I wish I didn't do that, but I had to.
Yeah, you can't hold that guy, especially guys. Guys can't hold.
Yeah, but yeah, there's no way you can sneak it either. Like I said, I thought I was being kind of coy with it, but everyone knew where I'd gone.
Yeah, they're like, what the hell happened to the DJ? Oh, he
Yeah,
must have went to
I
the
had to dust
bathroom.
out, man. Because I had to run through the crowd. It wasn't like it wasn't like the toilet was behind the DJ booth. So I had to go around the DJ booth and run through the crowd,
Mm-mm.
and then run back through the crowd and go back onto the DJ booth. So yeah.
So before I let you go, I forgot to ask you about DJ groupies. Do you still get DJ groupies?
All the time, man. Like, that's. But it's weird to me though, because I don't do groupies. Because to me, it's like, if you're only interested in me because I'm a DJ, how much other people have you done that to? Because I'm not the only DJ out there. I'm not the only known person out there.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone comes to you and talk about, oh, you look like this, you look nice, or you can see them making a beeline because they want you to take them home on that night or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's like, nah, like I just think the amount of people you must have gone to as well, like,
Right.
geez. I mean, because it's not your first time, so I don't want no one's afters.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because definitely not your first time. And then you got the people who come and they line up to take a picture and them thing there. Like, that's fine with me, because that's totally different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I still find it weird, like, you really like queuing up to take a picture with me because I'm just a normal person. But
Right.
I don't see them as groupies. I just see them as they appreciate what you're doing
Yeah.
and they want to just capture that moment in time. So that's
Yeah.
totally different. But yeah, groupies, like, I know it's weird. And you have I see someone act hungry, Bridget. I'm like, what are you hungry for? Like, weird. But I believe the bigger you are is the less. Yeah, I was gonna say the bigger you are, the less groupie you take. But then we know man like Kevin Hart still do their thing. So
Yeah, and I
so
think
it's
maybe
not. It depends on you as an individual, isn't it?
yeah, I guess so, because I was gonna say maybe because you're as you get older you realize maybe when you're young you're like, oh yeah, this is great, but as you get
I
older
still never did it then, even when I was
really
younger.
wow
No, like, see again. I grew up in '90s dancehall, innit? And the term back then was skete.
yes
Everyone know about one no skete.
right
So as 15, 16 growing up, it was a diss as a man to have a girl that's gone through enough other man.
mm-hmm
You know what I mean?
yep
Nah, man. Who's your girlfriend now, Lion? Oh, it's so and so. Hey, but did she deal with my man the other day as well? And she was going with my. And sometimes she could have just had 3 relationships in a year.
yeah
But back then, you're ignorant and you're 16. You still class it as a scatel.
mm-hmm.
So I've always been in that kind of way anyway. So when it become like I was getting bigger DJing, I was just like, nah, I'm just not on it. Not on it. And the way, I don't know if it's a thing of time, but now I say it's even worse. They just get hungrier and hungrier, man. It's weird. Like, there's just no morals anymore. That's the thing. I think I grew up with morals because my parents are still together.
oh that's so beautiful
Both my parents are Rastafarian.
nice.
So I grew up with a deep, strict Rastafarian culture.
okay.
And with that comes loads of morals and everything there as well, you see. So I think it's come from that.
yeah definitely probably
And also, my brethren that we're hanging around with, they're not Rastas, but they have that same moral thing as well. They're not really into, sleeping around all the time. I suppose if I was with a crew that always slept around, maybe you would just end up getting involved because your company tell you who you are.
yep
I was never really on that, and my brethren them ain't really on it, so we just never did it really.
well that's good for you better safe
Yeah, serious.
better safe
And
than sorry.
Disease thing. All them
Right.
things that just frighten me, man. Serious.
Exactly. So good
Right.
for you. So tell everyone where they can subscribe to DRB and how they can keep up with, all things Young Lion.
Right. So it's djmline.com, or you can go straight to iTunes. It's also on Podomatic podcast player. You can stream it online on TuneIn Radio app as well, and that comes through loads of different mediums now. So it's not just your laptop and PC and phone. that comes through digital TV or anything digital. You know what I mean? And yeah, subscribe, especially if you've got iTunes, subscribe. Click subscribe. And what a lot of people don't realize is if you do subscribe, sometimes I let out like a special mix that's totally different to the DRB that will just go out there without getting advertised. You know what I mean? So if you subscribe, you get those as well. And yes, it's all free. We live in an era where everything is free. And it's each and every week. New episodes come out every Tuesday. And just keep listening. And yeah, tell a friend to tell a friend. And I appreciate all the love, man. Serious.
Yes. Thank you so much for doing this interview. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Respect for that still.
Yes.